All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm starting a little bit late. Sorry about that. It was supposed to start at 7:40, and we're now getting into it. So just bear with me for a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Christ I am disciple in the building. How's everybody doing today? All right, we're going to talk about, as you can see from the topic, the SnyderVerse is going to go on. Okay, and I'm gonna give you the reasons why it's gonna go on. And I just want to say, man, that this has been a hell of a ride, and I'm just so excited to just talk about this right now. A lot of people are worried about the Snyderverse not continuing and so on, but it has to. It just has to. Like um, I'm gonna take what Wonder Woman said in the Snyder cut when she was talking to Batman or Diana speaking to Bruce. I'm gonna use Gal now, and this is what she might ask Ben Affleck. She might say, they said that the Snyderverse would never come again. You know what? Ben Affleck answers, it will. It has to. So let me get into that. First thing I'm going to do, though, is give all praise and glory to God. I'm going to start off with that. God's been good to all of us. We are all alive. We're all well. We're all healthy. So that's a good thing. And I'm not going to try and take too much of the time. I'm going to try and get this as brief as possible. Now, a couple of things I wanted to say to you guys is, First of all, if you want to join me in this chat right now, want to join me right now, awesome. All you got to do is just click on the link that I am showing you here, the StreamYard link, because this is on StreamYard, and you can join in the discussion. All people are welcome. All different opinions are welcome. Join in, okay? It took me a little bit longer than I expected to prepare the stream, so hopefully it works out very well, and you guys can benefit from it. Okay, so for the people in the Snyder Cut, let me tell you why SnyderVerse will continue. Different people have different opinions. Different people say, "But SnyderVerse has never stopped. It just never ended." Well, actually, yeah, it kind of stopped for a minute, but we'll get back to that. So let's start with the right beginning. I'm going to start this the right way. We're going to start with a piece of scripture. We're going to start with God. Hold up. Boom, boom. But before I do, I'm going to step away for a second. Okay. Yo, I'm back. Now, we're going to talk about mirrors. Mirrors. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to explain to you what I'm talking about when I talk about mirrors for a second. Um, Hold up 1 second. Everything's going to freeze. Don't worry about it. Don't trip. All right, peoples, we're getting into it. All right, as promised, here we go. All right. So the scripture I'm going to read from is 1 Corinthians 13. 1 Corinthians 13 is a scripture on love. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about love. So bear with me for a second. All right. So it says, right, cool. It says here, for now we see through a glass, darkly or dimly, but in the future, face to face. Now I know in part, but when it is time, I shall know even as I am known. Now, there are three things which are very important: faith, hope, love. But the greatest of these is love. All right. All right. Considering God's throne, it says, and out of the throne proceeded lightning and thunder and some voices. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which were the 7 spirits of God. And before the throne, there was a sea of glass like crystal. And in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes in front and behind them. And finally, I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues for them, for in them was filled the wrath of God. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire. And they that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name stood on the sea of glass, having harps of God. All right, so now it's all veil and stuff, but it's the same thing as talking about love. All of this is a description of love. Okay, so let me break it down for you. Okay, 1 Corinthians 13 says, but we see through a glass, darkly now, but then face to face. Okay, so I'm gonna demonstrate this. So if I have a mirror here, I look in this mirror, I see my face, right? But if I take the mirror and I actually reflect what's on the screen into the mirror, as you can see here, the reflection is not a perfect reflection, right? As you can see here, right? The color's a little bit distorted, etc. All right. Now, we hear about a sea of glass. What do we know about glass? Glass is reflective, okay? Like a mirror. So what does a mirror show you? But the reflection of whatever is in front of it, right? So a mirror will show you whatever is in front of it. Zack Snyder spoke about all the gods, all the devils, all the heavens, and all the hells are inside you. What does that mean? You know, we talk about the man in the mirror all the time. You know, we look at ourselves in the mirror. This is me. That's a reflection of myself. But a lot of times, other human beings can be mirrors, or animals, or whatever situations can be mirrors of what's going on with us. We can see ourselves in other people. We can see ourselves in situations. And It may not be a perfect reflection, but art imitates life, and sometimes life imitates art. They both influence each other. They are mirrors of each other. Okay? Not perfect mirrors necessarily. So when Paul is speaking about looking through a looking glass, he's talking about a reflection of himself that is dim, a reflection of God as well, because it is said that man is the express image of God, and an image can be a reflection. Now, a reflection is a virtual image, but nonetheless, face to face, when I'm looking face to face at myself, it's clear in the mirror. But when it's darkened, it's because I'm not getting a perfect reflection of myself. So if I look in here at this mirror, for example, right, what I see in this mirror is me. But if there's a little dirt on the mirror or spots, it doesn't give me a perfect reflection of myself. So why were these people standing on the sea of glass? Why were their voices so many different voices? Echoes. Sea of glass, mirrors, a reflection of themselves. When the reflection is a perfect reflection of oneself, then we have the truth, the true you. And if we are a perfect reflection of God, we see the true God in ourselves. Similarly with life situations, as one thing imitates the other in tandem, suddenly I and the reflection become one. There's almost indistinguishable. So love is such that when we really love, we are in sync with all things, and with God particularly, but we're in sync with all things. We harmonize. And so that you can't tell the difference between ourselves and love itself. Right? So that's basically what those set of scriptures were talking about. The glass is the truth teller. If the glass is clean, you're going to see exactly what it is, a perfect reflection of what's being reflected through the glass. Similarly, the true you, the pure you, is one that is perfectly in alignment with God, which means perfectly alignment with all natural things in the world. Perfect alignment with energy, perfect alignment with the yin and yangs of the world. And it sounds new age, but it's not, because God's not necessarily a human. We always think God's a human for some reason. And so if you think about creation things, you're going to be in alignment with those things as well. The yin and yang. You're going to be in alignment with energy, the natural energy flow of nature. You're going to be in alignment with the natural order of the cosmos. You're going to be in alignment with people around you. You're going to be calm. The way how you're going to be is much more calmer. You're going to have perfect peace because you're going to be in alignment with everything. And you will also be in tune with everything. This is how God is. God wants us to be like himself. God is in tune with everything. God knows everything because he's in tune with everything all the time. Similarly, God is all powerful because he's fueling everything. And again, God is, of course, always present everywhere because, like energy, everything needs him to exist. No matter if it's a vacuum or black hole or whatever else. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Love is the key to all things. And we're going to talk about what we love. And I always tell people, spend more time focused on what you love than what you hate. That way, you won't have time for what you hate. Similarly, if you spend all your time doing good things, you won't have time to do evil things. It's that simple. But yet it is complex. All right, let's get into what we're talking about today, which is something that we want to do because we love this, right? So first of all, if you want to join in, don't forget you can join in by clicking on this link here, which is at the top of the chat section. And in addition, uh, I just wanted to put out there before I even go into a conversation. Here is the petition to restore the Snyderverse. You guys need to click on that if you haven't clicked on it. And please sign the petition, because this will be important in terms of steps that we as fans can do. So let's get into what we're going to talk about. Zack Snyder's Justice League, okay, is going to continue primarily for a number of reasons. But the first one is because it is an absolute success for HBO Max. Period. Okay? Let me explain. So when Jason Keeler came into Warner Media, his mandate was to make Warner Media more efficient and more in tune with this particular age, okay, 2021 and beyond. Jason Keeler realized he needed to streamline HBO and its programming. There were too many different outlets: HBO Go, HBO Now, HBO this, HBO that. So they decided to streamline HBO into HBO Max globally, but it'll start in America. So the focus of Jason Keeler was on streaming, because he realized that's the future of entertainment. It's going to be streaming. And while the theaters will still be an option, streaming will dominate eventually. So now, seeing that that was that's the direction that Jason Keeler is going in, and AT&T also gave him that mandate to do so, HBO Max is the baby of Jason Keeler, and then to a greater extent also the content officer of HBO Max, which is Casey Bloys. Okay. Now, John Stankley is the CEO of AT&T. Okay. He's the CEO of AT&T. And he is completely on board with that, because the reason AT&T even bought out Warner Brothers was to streamline their communication services, their phones, so that people can access communications in a much more up-to-date, efficient way. So ultimately, Jason Keeler is brought on board from Hulu to be able to modernize Warner Media and get that access by AT&T. So they paid I think it's 80-something billion dollars to get this property for that reason. Okay. So the goal that Jason Keeler had with HBO Max is to make it one of the most dominant streaming services out there. We have Paramount Plus, we have Disney Plus, which is doing quite well. They're out there. And we also have Netflix, and we have other streaming services like Amazon Prime, etc. Right? They're not streaming services, actually. But yes, they are streaming services. So anyway, there are other little ones that are there, but these are the major ones now. Warner Brothers went into this venture with HBO Max. This was launched with Jason Keeler, and that was launched last year. Now, HBO Max will go global. Now you're going to see Latin America, HBO Max is coming. And I actually am following it right now. It's going to come somewhere later down this year. And Jason Keeler's really launching the platform. Now, COVID provided the perfect environment for Jason Keeler to actually test out the streaming service, because now people couldn't really go to theaters, so it was streaming mostly. Okay, so this is what happened. Jason Keeler takes this initiative. Now, the other thing that's interesting, because we had a number of movies that were in the cinema that ended up being on HBO Max as exclusives, but HBO Max themselves started buying out movies, small budget movies mostly, with small companies. They bought them out, and they actually put them on their streaming service. And some of those small budget movies actually ended up in the cinema, in theaters. Of course, because of COVID and stuff, they didn't make a whole ton of money, but they were testing out the model. Now, why this is important is because the Snyder Cut became one of the biggest things that HBO Max has done today. Okay, why this is extraordinarily successful is for several different reasons, and we'll go through them. But one of the first things is Jason Keeler's objective of making HBO Max the streamline only streaming service of HBO, and streaming out and streamlining HBO, so there will be no more cable of HBO, just HBO Max just existing. Why that's so important is because he has made a tremendously, now let me just put this to you. HBO Max has put out, since last year, they put out a slate of movies. They had Witches, they had Lovecraft, a lot of original programming. They call them the Max Originals. Now they've had several of them, 10, 12, I think it's 10, 12 of them, okay? And we're talking about, these are movies. They're one and done, not Lovecraft. Lovecraft's a series. We're talking about movies, okay? So they put out a number of movies, small budget. Some of them were really well critically acclaimed. We had Meryl Streep one, Something Talk, I think it is. And there were several others. Some got really good critical success, and some, you know, did okay in theaters. Now, in terms of HBO originals, Zack Snyder's Justice League has totally just redefined HBO Max. Let's put HBO Max on the map, okay? Because they're the only people offering Zack Snyder's Justice League, okay? Now, they're the only distributor as well of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, there's a lot to explain here, so I'm going to try and unpack it really carefully for you. So the first thing, though, is Jason Keeler's goal of making HBO Max the only streaming service of HBO is way on its way because of the Snyder Cut. So that's the first thing to remember. The second thing is that HBO Max has gotten the Snyder Cut, which is the most far-reaching, best critically and financially successful Max original. Remember that, because this movie, the Snyder Cut, or Zack Snyder's Justice League, was not, let me repeat, was not finished in its production through Zack Snyder through Warner Brother Pictures. It wasn't. That $70 million that was put up was by the HBO Max side of things. AT&T and HBO Max put up that money. Warner Brother Pictures had nothing to do with it. They did not sponsor a thing from that point on. So let me explain. Warner Brother Pictures was not going to put no more money into Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, it was not going to happen. Okay, they did release the film and footage and all those things, but they did not put up the money. The people who put up the money for this is Jason Keeler's Warner Media through AT&T and HBO Max. Okay, if you look, the distribution was done by HBO Max, all right, of this movie. And it was supposed to be just self-contained to the United States of America, but because this movie is so global, it went HBO Nordic and HBO Go. But listen, let me make it abundantly clear again so everybody understands. Jason Keeler is not interested in having HBO Nordic and HBO Go and HBO Now and HBO this and HBO that. Ultimately, in the end, he's going to streamline everything. And so there'll be HBO Max everywhere. There won't be no Crave. There won't be no HBO Asia. It ain't going to be none of that. All you're going to have is HBO Max eventually. Okay? That's the goal that Jason Keeler has for streaming service. We're talking streaming. Whether it's streaming to TV, streaming to phone, they're streamlining the thing so that if you need to go to a website, if you need to download an app, if you need to use the television screen, this app, this app or this thing is going to cover it all. They're trying to consolidate all of the HBO brand and have one brand, and it's going to be a streaming brand. It's going to be HBO Max. Okay, the Snyder Cut has just made that crystal clear reality. Now, what you need to understand is Jason Keeler is not quick to say too much more because there's several different reasons, but one of the reasons is they're looking to see if the Snyder Cut fans and all the additional fans that have come to HBO Max, if they're interested in their programming. HBO Max has a ton of really good programming. original films, people who like small budget films, original films, original series. Some of the old series, like if you guys liked South Park, if you liked um, there's so much, you know, there's so much like old program, you know, Terminator, not Terminator, just really good stuff, like, you know, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, and so on and so on and so on, right? You know, Batman v Superman. All that content is now going to be on HBO Max. Now, let me tell you how crazy that is. When you are getting that kind of good content for $15 a month, yes, the subscription is pretty premium and it's kind of expensive, but think about this. Especially for the people right now who are subscribed to HBO Max. Now, it's not going to be this way forever. You get to see movies that are coming out in theater for the first 30 days. You get to see that on HBO Max because of your subscription. You get to see, you know, Zack Snyder's just, you get to see all, this is crazy, but you get to see a lot of content that you would not normally get to see. And they're doing that to attract new subscribers and new buyers. Now, here's the thing that changed the game. When they looked at last weekend there, and they saw that HBO Max's rate of downloads for the app went up by 60-something%. No other, listen to me carefully, no other streaming service comes close to that. Okay? The expansion was ridiculous. And that's not just Snyder Cut fans. That was a tremendous indication. That's week 2. We're going into week 3 now, right? Week 2. Now, you got to understand something. This is not like streaming services do not operate like box office, okay? And I think a lot of people know this now. Streaming service is about longevity. Can you get your subscribers to engage with your content and so keep their subscription going? And you have a constant subscription base. You want to see right now, Disney Plus, Netflix even, and Netflix has a tremendous subscription base, but they're losing subscribers. So subscribers pop on Netflix and then they disappear off because Netflix is the first one. So they're the biggest of them all. Disney Plus, to try and go up against Netflix, they put in billions of dollars, okay? Billions of dollars into making sure they have certain content and they can capture customers, okay? Now think about this. Listen to me and see how crazy what Jason Keeler is doing. $70 million. First of all, they made that back already, okay? But that's a drop in the bucket to what these other streaming services are doing. Paramount's putting in serious bank just to keep clientele, just to attract clientele. Disney Plus is killing it. They just, you know, they're trying to get the Marvel fans, and then they're trying to get other people, attract other people to their market, Disney fans, etc. Okay. Now, of course, they have a bigger subscription base, but Warner Brothers just investing $70 million into this particular movie have risen by 60-something%. No other streaming service done. It blew up. Now, if they can keep those subscribers and hold them in HBO Max and add to those numbers, because they're looking at projections and their projections look pretty wild, they can be a really incredible streaming service. And they're on their way to that. So what I want you guys to understand is Jason Keeler, he's all for the SnyderVerse going forward. I'm gonna just let you guys know that one time. He's all for the SnyderVerse going forward. Okay. Jason Keeler, Casey Bloys, who is the creative consultant officer for content. He's actually the content creating officer for HBO Max. He's totally on board. Okay. And of course, John Stankley, the CEO of AT&T, is like ecstatic. They're really ecstatic. This is very exciting. Okay. They're not saying anything right now, but trust me, they're flipping. And how do I know this? Well, one, Mikey Sutton, who's like an insider kind of guy, he was on uh, Sil Abdul Inc. Sil Abdul Inc. is a channel on here. Now, Mikey Sutton, he did the article, you know, the geek stuff. The geek, I forgot what the name of his channel is, which is terrible, but he did an article and he was talking about why the SnyderVerse is inevitable. It's happening. Okay. But what's more important right now is what I'm trying to say to you is he also spoke about the fact that Jason Keeler, John Stankley, and J.C. Blois, they're like ecstatic about this thing. And then not only that, but not only are they ecstatic, not only is the SnyderVerse going forward, but they want Ben Affleck retained as Batman. Okay, they want Ben Affleck's Batman in that universe. Okay, so that's allegedly what he said. Not allegedly, but that's what allegedly was said. Now, what I just told you is Jason Keeler, Casey Blois, and John Stankley, they are the streaming part of Warner Brothers Media. Okay, they're a streaming part of Warner Brothers Media. However, on the picture side, on the production and developmental side, you have Ann Sarnoff, you have you have Walter Hamada, and then you have Toby Emmerich. Okay, Toby Emmerich is the CEO of Warner Brothers Pictures. He's the chief executive officer of Warner Brothers Pictures. Okay, Ann Sarnoff is the chief executive officer of Warner Brothers Entertainment, also currently today known as Warner Media Studios. Okay, that was the occupation that Kevin Tsuchihara had, and Toby Emmerich, he had the position that Greg Silverman had, and Walter Hamada had the position that John Berg had, along with Jeff Johns. Okay, they replaced those guys. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. After BVS, Greg Silverman was removed from his position, and Toby Emmerich came in. Okay, Toby Emmerich's from New Line Cinema, Walter Hamada's from New Line Cinema, so they work hand in hand. So they agree with each other. As Ann Sarnoff tried to put, they're trying to get Hamada-verse going. Okay, fine. On the Warner Brothers Picture side of the equation, they're trying to imitate Marvel. They're going the Marvel route. I told you guys this a long time ago. I told you that's what I saw in Aquaman. I told you that's what I saw in Ship. That's what it is. Okay. Now, the very important thing to understand in this whole thing is, though, that they're opposed to the Snyder Cut coming out. They don't want the Snyder Cut coming out. They didn't want the Snyder Cut coming out. It came out anyway. All right. They had spent a lot of money on Justice League. Well, not exactly them, not Ann Sarnoff, not Walter Hamada, but Toby Emmerich was there, and he lied, saying that, you know, keeping with Zach's vision. But Toby Emmerich was there when the screw up happened. When Jeff Johns brought in Joss Whedon, and they reshot most of the movie, right? And spent an extra $30 million on top of the $300 million or $275 million that it took for the movie to be made. So we're looking at $325, $350 million when all is said and done. That was a loss for them because they didn't make back all the money. They kind of broke even, but it was a flop. Okay. So they don't want nothing to do with Justice League no more. Now think about this. HBO Max and AT&T says, okay, that's cool. We want it. And they pay whatever it takes to fuel the rest of the production costs. Right? So Zack Snyder said $70 million is needed to finish it off and stuff. And they gave him the money. Now, currently, as it sits in the United States, they say it's somewhere around $224 million this movie is already made. So if you start off with 70 million and you make 224 million, that's not bad. Okay? That's already not bad. But just imagine this. This is the thing that makes the big difference. One, I already told you about this. The sole distribution of Zack Snyder's Justice League by HBO Max. They have successfully distributed. Yes, it wasn't all under HBO Max's banner yet because it hasn't expanded that big yet, but it was HBO related things. Okay, that's the first point. So they were very successful with that. The second thing is, um, the kind of hype that the movie has created. Other studios, Sony right now is dying to have that kind of hype for Morbius, for Spider-Man. They don't have that kind of hype. Okay, the kind of hype that's happening here is epic. Epic. Right now, the Snyder cut is it's made TV. It's on TV and stuff. And listen, think about this. The only big hype like this that happened was Wonder Woman, but that only lasted for like a week or 2 weeks, right? This is on its third week of hype. Third week of hype, and the hype's not slowing down. And Restore the Snyderverse is the next as a whole animal unto itself. The hashtag, it's everywhere. You see it, you see it on YouTube, you see it on Twitch, you see it on Facebook, you see it on Twitter. Okay, it's everywhere now. Okay, the hype ain't dying down. The train is not slowing down. Okay, this is the kind of hype. If Sony could get this kind of hype for their movies, and I'm interested to still see Morbius, which is a vampire movie, but of course my boy is in that movie, so I need to see it, Jared Leto. But the hype is ridiculous for this movie. And this is in COVID. And here's the cool thing about it. This was in COVID. Remember, Warner Brothers Pictures did not distribute this movie. Usually Warner Brothers Pictures does the distribution. They didn't want nothing to do with the movie. They didn't want to spend no money on the movie. They just gave the rights over and you deal with the cost. So HBO Max got like the best deal ever. It's the best deal ever. They got a movie for 70 million. And they just had to study distribution. And because HBO Max is not in every single country, just imagine the streaming service is in every single country. Think about that. See, that's just blowing right now. That's what's blowing. Like it's completely blowing AT&T and the CEO of Warner Media's mind. Jason Keeler's like losing his mind right now because he knows what they have. All right, so now the other thing that I heard $3 Theater saying is, where is HBO Max going to cough up the money to be able to finance the next Justice League movie? Well, let's get into that a little bit, because some people are thinking, you know, that's a one-timer or whatever. But I want to show you something, okay? All right, so like I said before, Justice League's production and distribution was held by Atlas Entertainment, which is Charles Rowan, by DC Films, which is headed by Walter Hamada, and HBO Pictures did the distribution. Okay, so that was headed by it's now currently headed by Ann Sarnoff. Okay, basically, Toby Eric Ann Sarnoff. Okay, and Stone Quarry, of course, is Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder's company. Now, those were the three guys. Now, if you can't get monies from or distribution from Warner Brothers Pictures, guess what? HBO Max can do the distribution now via streaming. They did it. They did it for the Snyder Cut, right? And they've been working on getting movies into the cinemas. Okay, well, okay, so they're not quite there yet when it comes to getting the movies into the cinemas, but they don't need Warner Brothers Pictures for distribution. That's my point. That is why Jason Keeler is already ecstatic. Okay. Second point is this. Think about this now. The second point is this. Warner Brothers, HBO Max, okay, HBO Max, they can always find another sponsor to put up that money. Even if it's, okay, let's say 275 million it takes to, and then again, there's so much I want to say. So let me try and do this in one piece at a time. All right, let's say it takes 300 million or 500 million even to make the two movies, Justice League 2 and 3. Understand the first point is Justice League 2 wouldn't come out until, at best, it could come out, or they can get it going by 2023. Okay? not 2022. So we give it about 2 years. You don't want to rush the thing, right? 2023, right? Let's say it comes out 2023. That's Justice League 2, okay? Let me tell you how we get a sponsor so easy. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a company. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said, I want the Justice League. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said, listen, man, I need them for my Black Adam 2 movie. The first one's going to be against JLA, right? The second one, he wants to go up against Justice. Let me just let you know. Think about this now. If Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson puts up some of the money for not the second Justice League, but the third Justice League movie, right? It's just and Black Adam's in that. I'm just saying, that's one way of looking at it. That's just one option. There's several others, right? You can get producers from several other different places to come produce your movie. All right? They have to know which producers and so on. Third point. So that point number one was that WB Pictures does not need to distribute. HBO Max can do it. They've done it before successfully, particularly through the streaming service. All right, which is the direction they're going. They may have it in theaters as well. And this is another thing. When theaters open back up, imagine Zack Snyder's Justice League playing in theaters, because this thing is a rewatchable thing. We already realize that. You can watch this thing multiple times, get addicted to it, and just keep on watching it, right? So if we get to see it on a big screen, everybody's going to go watch it, right? So that's another thought. But we need it, they probably would roll that out like in a sample size. What they do is restricted amount of cinemas and see how it does in a restricted amount of cinemas. That's what you do. So they could use, for example, the Snyder Cut as a test. And if people globally now demand for it, they can go wider. But the next one is a totally different story. So what I'm saying is this arm of Warner Media, which is the streaming side of it, is all for Zack Snyder's Justice League. The non-streaming side of Warner Media right now, the executives, remember, executives have to make an account for their actions quarter by quarter. So that voice, Greg Silverman, I want to talk a little bit about him. So there's a lot of voices in the room right now talking as a result of the success of this movie. There's a lot of voices in the room talking, okay? And one of them is Greg Silverman. And remember, Greg Silverman was the former CEO of Warner Brothers Pictures. Now, hear me out here. That's Tony Everett's job. Now, Greg Silverman had the vision, but they removed Greg Silverman when Batman v Superman didn't do as well. He had the vision to see what Zack Snyder's vision was, and now he's being also validated. So he came out and spoke about it. He said, this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer, Warner Brothers Pictures. You go with what's working. You don't go with what you're just trying out and stuff like that. You go with what's working. This is common sense, right? So he came out and he spoke about it. Now, this is the very important thing. And everybody's like, man, if Greg Silverman was there, this wouldn't even be an issue, right? Now, here's the thing. Greg Silverman was there, but then we had Kevin Tsuchihara, who was like fucking up things, right? And it seems as though we always have some people, whether it's Toby Emmerich or Walter Hamada or some stupid CEO who always feels you need to follow Marvel and Disney. All right? And yes, you can have varied opinions and views, but come on, man. This is not Marvel and DC. This is not Marvel. This is Warner Brothers DC. Okay? And whatever tone Warner Brothers DC wants to go with, let it go with it. And they always have some stupid executive in there that's clueless. Always, I really need the kids and the toys. That's why we got Batman and Robin, which I think was the shittiest movie I've ever seen. Okay? Batman and Robin. It's terrible. Because Warner Brothers Pictures always have some stupid CEO in there trying to capitalize. Oh, we need the kiddies, the kiddies, the kiddies. Shut up. Shut up already. That's not what Warner Brothers Pictures is about. And even when they do make funny movies, and they do make movies that apply to the kiddies, it's sensibly done. All right, so let's keep it rolling. So, of course, I told you about Dwayne The Rock Johnson as well. He's also putting pressure on him. So when you think about it, former CEO siding with AT&T, siding with Jason Keeler, siding with Blois, Casey Blois, and several other executives. I haven't talked about those guys. All right, there are executives even in Warner Brothers Picture side that are supportive of, yes, let's see the Snyderverse, please, and let's see Justice League 2 and 3. You know, they want to see it, and Zach has something they're waiting on. So it's very exciting what is transpiring. Okay, no doubt about it, no ifs or buts. And the Snyderverse will go forward. That's no ifs or buts. Even though there's this dichotomy between, you know, Walter Hamada and Ann Sarnoff and Toby Emmerich versus, say, Casey Blois and Jason Keeler and, of course, John Stockley, I can tell you for a fact this universe is going forward, and everything's moving in that direction. You see, you heard David Ayer say, man, shit, man, I gotta get my cut out, because he's probably getting the feeling already, and I do too. And HBO Max should go for this. Again, this is another steal of the deal. I'm explaining. You already have a market for it. The people are waiting for it. You have a demand for it globally. Globally, and also in the United States, and subscribers already on HBO Max, they will die to see the Ayer cut come out. And the nice thing about it is the Ayer cut has already, principal photography is done, some special effects are already done for it. So it's just to spend again some money. You're gonna have to put out some money, maybe 50 million, whatever. You put out that money and you put out the Ayer cut, because it's a work that's almost finished, right? Because they were screening the shit. So if they screened David Ayer's version, it's obvious if you screened it to audiences to do a test, it's pretty much finished. So it's only common sense that HBO Max should try and jump at that opportunity to get the Ayer cut out there. And guys need to pull, because right now, Warner Brothers Pictures and everybody on that side of the fence, they ain't got a leg to stand on. Okay? The success of the Snyder cut says that the Ayer cut should be put out. And that's another huge event. That's going to be huge. Okay? So I'm just saying, you got something sitting down there. David Ayer's cut. You telling me Jason Keeler, Casey Blois, and John Stockley is just going to sit down there and let the Ayer cut slide like Ann Sarnoff said? Hell no. Maybe on the Warner Brothers Picture side, you're going to let it slide. You're going to let that gem just sit there. But no, HBO Max will say, we'll buy it out from you. We'll take it from you. We'll take the rest of the costs. We'll foot the bill. And you get that sucker out there. So in 2022, you hit a mark with 2021 with the Snyder cut. In 2022, you got the Ayer cut coming up. That's how you do it. With Shazam. With not Shazam, sorry, Black Adam. Okay? You got those two coming out. And they build off of each other, because The Rock, remember, Suicide Squad and Justice League was kind of hand in hand. And maybe with a little additional tweaking to that, you could link it up with Black Adam. Shit. A little extra photography in there. Some extra stuff, additional photography. You could link it up with Black Adam. Oh my gosh. Woo! So now we're talking about a Black Adam movie, or a Justice League movie that involves Black Adam and elements of the Suicide Squad in the Snyderverse. Okay, now people say, well, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, what's going to happen with that? That's the Hamada-verse. That's a different verse. And remember, the cool thing about Black Adam is he's going to interface with different universes. He's willing to interface with the MCU. He's willing to interface with the Snyderverse. He's willing to interface with the Hamada-verse. He's open to all of them. Because Shazam is the Hamada-verse. That's New Line Cinema. Okay? So, it's going to get interesting. But yeah, for sure, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, if he need to foot the bill, he going to foot some of that bill. And they're going to get sponsors, more sponsors in there to see it. And I saw mayors saying that release the Snyder cut. I'm restore the Snyderverse. Mayors and people in Congress and in the Senate. I'm telling you, the government of the country is even interested in it. That's how crazy it is. It's really lit up. And when I saw it on Stephen Colbert's show, and they were talking, they had a whole piece on this on the Snyder cut. I was like, wow, they redid the Lex Luthor Deathstroke scene and stuff. They did a whole piece. That's how major it is. And this was just on a streaming service. So I mean, like I said before, the kind of hype that this studio that HBO Max is getting and the press, you know, it's just going to it's doing extraordinarily well. I'm pretty sure Jason Keeler is ecstatic about what's happening. He can't speak on it because obviously the Warner Brother Picture side, they're doing negotiations with them to see how they can work through the situation. So that's why they're so quiet, I believe. They're negotiating this thing out, trying to work this thing out. Because obviously Ann Sarnoff, she don't want nothing to do with it, right? Walter Hamada wants nothing to do with it. Tommy Emmerich, he was probably strong-armed to make the okay to let this movie come out because of a directive from AT&T or whatever. Because Jason Keeler was totally invested in it and still is. And listen, it's another thing a lot of people don't understand. And I think even $3 Theater doesn't understand. This was never about opening numbers. This is about not just subscribers, but long-term subscribers, people who are going to stay with HBO Max, they're going to be loyal to HBO Max. And right now, they got a demographic that they love. They love you. And I love what's on HBO Max. I wish I could get it, but it's coming later on this year, and I'll order it online. I'm going to take my subscription to HBO Max when it comes online. And I'm going to tell you this. HBO Max is a premier streaming service, obviously. But when you can get all these kinds of different content and all this original content, and then for those people who like small budget movies that really have something to say and stuff, you're gonna love HBO Max, right? And they have everything. They have from you know, some of the Greg Berlanti's movie. I forgot what the name of it is. Two girls with an abortion. It's not a comic book movie. And then you have different content on it. It's really great. So obviously, me, myself, and I will definitely subscribe to HBO Max when it comes to my country. Obviously, love the Snyder Cut. Of course, what do we as fans do? What do we as fans do? Let's say, like I said, the delay, of giving the results for the performance because of infighting in Warner Media, as well as negotiations. They're trying to figure out a way to negotiate through this so that HBO Max can sort of handle the Snyder Cut, the Snyderverse, how they want to handle it. But they obviously have ideas and plans for how they will handle the Snyderverse. Remember, you guys can leave your comments in the comment section here in the chat, as well as you can jump on. It's right here. Okay, so what can we as fans do concerning this? All right. The first thing we need to do, we're doing the hashtag campaigns. That's great. Okay. So we're going to have a hashtag campaign April the 4th. That's Easter weekend. And the hashtag is Restore the Snyderverse. And we're going for 2 million tweets, whatever. I don't really care. There's record-breaking numbers. That's the important thing. Now, other than that, the other step is the hashtag Release the Ayer Cut. So that's the next campaign. And that's actually lined up. We have a whole set of campaigns. I put it up in the community section of my channel, so you guys can always check that out. Now, the other thing you guys need to do is support the petition online to restore the Snyderverse. That petition is actually right here in the chat section here. So here's the petition right here. So you click on that petition right there, and it will send you to Restore Snyder, and share the petition with other people who want to see the Snyderverse restored, so they can see the continuation of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay. Now, the other thing that needs to be done is if you're subscribed to HBO Max, keep your subscription to HBO Max. Okay. You want to stay subscribed to HBO Max. So you want to keep your subscriptions to HBO Max. Okay. Hold on a second here. Okay. So you want to keep your subscription to HBO Max, and AT&T just wants to make sure that they have a guaranteed base, and they do. You guys are their guaranteed base, because once they know Justice League 2 and 3 is going to be greenlit, and that's going to happen, they're going to stay, right? That's the first thing. So, woo, I can't wait until HBO Max comes to my country and around the world. But you guys got to keep your subscriptions. Don't go throwing away your HBO Max subscriptions, because this is, trust me, man, this is the way. The other thing is keep watching and sharing Justice League and promoting also AFSP and Feeding America, okay? You want to promote these charities. Again, like any fandom, we're going to continue to have art and explore the depths of this trilogy so far that we have. And we're going to have a good time online, whether it's Twitter or wherever, exploring and delving into it and going deeper into it, okay? I have a simple question for you guys, actually, based on this, and that is, you know, I saw Martian Manhunter at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League speaking to Batfleck, right? My question to you is, how did he know, first of all, that Darkseid was a real threat? And how did he know that the Justice League fought Darkseid, right? And how did he know that, how did he know that Darkseid was going to return again? These are all questions that Zack Snyder popped into our heads. And I'm like, okay, we know that he knew that Darkseid, somebody from Darkseid was there, because Steppenwolf showed up in Metropolis, right? He actually showed up in Metropolis, and everybody saw him, and they have pictures of him and stuff. And remember, General Swanwick is no longer a general. He's the Secretary of Defense, Secretary Swanwick. So he's, you know, once that stuff's caught on film, and right, so he knows it as a secretary, right? So he would have seen Steppenwolf, and probably as Martian Manhunter, he probably knew who Steppenwolf was. So, you know, you can kind of deduce and put things together, how he just kind of pops up at Batman's door. He knows who Batman is. He knows who Bruce Wayne is, Batman. He obviously knows that Henry Cavill, sorry, not Henry Cavill. He obviously knows that Clark Kent is Superman, because he went by Lois Lane, right? Imitating Lois Lane's mom, Clark Kent's mom. So he knows, he knows a lot of stuff, okay? Now, why I was doing that, because I was looking back at Man of Steel, and I was looking at Batman v Superman to get hints as to how did Harry Lennox's General Swanwick, you know. And then the other thing he said is, I've been several other people. So who else has Martian Manhunter been inside of BVS and Man of Steel? You know, these kind of questions just going through my mind. I'm like, it's just driving me nuts. I went to sleep thinking about it, actually. And there's a lot to this that I would love to find out more about, because he just pops out of nowhere, right? He pops out of nowhere into the movie, and he's imitating Martha Kent. Then he pops back. He shows his true self to Batman, of all people. Why didn't he show himself to Superman? You know, why? And he, of course, he says because Batman orchestrated the whole thing and stuff. But I just find it interesting, you know. And anyway, if you guys have the answers to these questions, it'll be great. But it really got me like, oh man, there's so much to this movie, man. I gotta go watch it a couple more times. Oh man, it's so exciting. So I just wanted to leave that with you guys. Let me wrap it up by saying, encourage and support all the people who promote the movement, from James Gunn, Christopher Nolan, to other verifieds. They may have been against Zack Snyder and his movies, and even us as a fandom, but if they join with us, welcome them in. Welcome them in. All right. And there's so many of us now. This has gone mainstream, like we all know, and this is a great thing. This is a great thing. Now, with respect to one more thing I want to talk about. I noticed the media is still persistent on calling our fandom toxic for some reason. They like that word. They're enamored with it. We're not a toxic movement at all. And it's very important to distinguish the difference between our movement, which is trying to fight for the existence of a aspect of the multiverse, versus a movement that is looking to destroy or get rid of an aspect of the multiverse or an aspect of anything, whether it's Star Wars, where they want to just expel and get rid of directors and stuff like that. And it's kind of like a cancel culture where they're going after people and going after actors and stuff like that. We're not that. Okay. Godzilla versus Kong came out yesterday. We're cool with Godzilla versus Kong. You know, we're not trying to tear it down. I seen Chris Swanson, who is obviously a ping pong flicks guy. He didn't have anything negative to say about Godzilla versus Kong. Just look at the people who are okay. So here's the way how you can check it out. Go look at the For the Snyder Cut movement. The people in the For the Snyder Cut movement. They're not the only people, but I'm just saying. Those people in For the Snyder Cut movement are the people that organized together. Even Release the Snyder Cut. The Release the Snyder Cut Twitter page, right, was assembly of some of those people who were anonymous. So that, you know, right now we have the Restore the Snyder Cut page, which is awesome as well. And that's cool. You know, and another thing I want to say and caution people in the fandom, I know you guys watch my videos, is stop it when you say some people are trying to get attention. Stop saying that. I'll tell you why. You don't know the intent of people sometimes. And a lot of times people are coming out the shadows and they're trying to take initiatives and they're trying to do things. Let's be more encouraging of people. There's no room for jealousy and maliciousness and attacking other members in the group. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's stupid. We can all do this business and we can all benefit by it. Okay? And we don't have to attack each other. You can disagree with each other on opinions and how to approach things, but there's no reason to attack each other. And I feel like deep down on the down low, some of us in this movement are trying to attack other members of the movement, which just doesn't make no damn sense. Okay? If there are certain people who are prominent in the movement and they're prominent, then let it be. It's a relay. It's a relay. Okay? And there's going to be a time when the baton is passed so that different people can be in prominent positions to help for the cause. It's a functional thing. So stop it. I hear this talk all the time. I don't like it. Okay? Because it stops other people who really want to go forward and try and contribute and put their role into play. You're trying to stifle them. It's like you're trying to stifle them from growing and doing something with themselves. Let them do it. Let them do it. I made bloopers. I made several bloopers. So what? I was wrong about the Justice League, the theatrical version. And I found out that when I saw the deleted scene of Superman. Okay? It got me angry because I was defending Warner Brothers from, Warner Brothers Pictures to the T. I was believing them. And even though I was seeing weird CGI on the screen, I was still rationalizing. Okay? It happens. Okay? But at the end of the day, we need to work together. And once the information is correct, we should keep on advocating and pushing. I like the hashtags. I like the intensity of Restore the Snyderverse and then, Release the Air Cut and then, Deadshot and whatever else the fans want. It's cool. Doesn't mean we'll get every single one of them, but it's cool. That's what fans are for. That's what we're supposed to do. And I like it. And I like how this environment is a very positive one. I still have a song to put out, Us United, which, has to do with suicide prevention. Okay. But that doesn't mean I bad talk somebody else who's putting out a song with the same sort of intent. It just means we're thinking the same. There's no reason to be angry and I'll pick this guy over this guy. but they're saying the same thing. So if we're saying the same thing, it's good that more different voices with a variety of different approaches is saying the same thing. It's not a bad thing. Stop it. We've got to work together. Not this faction and that faction and this faction and that. We can't do that, guys. And yeah, we're gonna sort out our haggles, but I'm just saying. So this is all I got to say for you guys. And much love to you guys. I really enjoy speaking with you guys. That's all I have to say for now. I think my words are finished. And you guys have a good day. You know, I have a group on Facebook. It's called Justice League Unite. I got several Facebook groups. I got Man of Steel. I got Batman v Superman. We have Wonder Woman lovers. They're all lovers. I got the real DCEU fans. I formed that, you know. So you guys can check those things out on Facebook. All right. And listen, guys, it's all about love at the end of the day. It's not about hate. It's about love. Like I told you, love's the only way to see things properly. Right. And yes, we make mistakes and all of that. I know. And we can, but once you say you're sorry and you really mean it and you try to move in a different direction, that's all that matters. And you can't be wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. Can't always be right. Okay, it's nothing wrong with being wrong, man. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Guys, I am Disciple. We out.